This class will be concerned with transferable skills. Transferable skills are necessary skills gained throughout your upbringing, such as your experience, your education, your lifestyle, interest, and employment history. In other words, transferable skills are all those skills that you possess which you have acquired over your lifetime, and you've acquired them from various sources. They can be seen as your achievements. Individuals that acquire a range of transferable skills are more competent and more adaptable individuals, and hence employable. So the more transferable skills you've got, the better it is. The more experiences you have, the better it is. Now, transferable skills include skills for life. In other words, the skills that we require for our everyday existence. Being able to travel and to work out how to efficiently travel from one place to another. How to shop, how to purchase items we require, and so on. These are the skills of life. These are important. It may also include the ability to drive, the ability to use computers nowadays. So skills for life is not a fixed set of skills. These are evolving and depend on the type of society we live in and the requirements of that society. We've also got vocational skills. These are the practical skills that we need in order to gain good employment. Now, these can overlap with the other skills that we require, the various other skills we require, but it could be our ability, again, to use computers or to use spreadsheets or to be able to have good numeracy skills or communication skills, the ability to work practically, to work with our hands, to be able to do certain tasks and complete certain tasks. So transferable skills can be of those natures. Certain dexterity we've got with our hands and our ability to use tools, perhaps basic tools, but nonetheless we're able to achieve certain outcomes. And this, in a sense, overlaps with our technical skills, the ability to solve problems, to be able to look at situations and analyze situations and put in place solutions. It's a technical analysis we're able to perform. We have a problem and we look ahead to try and solve the problem, and that problem, if it's related to a task in employment, it may be a routine that's not working, a process that's not working effectively, it may be something to do with machinery, or it could be how the stores is organized, or whatever it is. These are technical issues and we may have skills to be able to deal with them. And they overlap with the work-related skills, but the work-related skills may be slightly wider. It may include our ability to communicate effectively and to be able to produce reports and be able to analyze, and we'll talk about this again in a moment as a separate skill. But work-related skills are the ability to turn up on time, to be efficient and polite and capable, and someone who is dedicated to their job and be able to project a good image of the business and of the product. The research skills are your abilities to find information, perhaps solve problems by finding information, promoting the business and understanding the market and the market trends, and be able to research these and to research them efficiently. So that may be a transferable skill, one that you've picked up by going online and being able to conduct some basic research online, It may be one that you have acquired by at school, perhaps by going to the library or talking to particular tutors about sources of information and having acquired information itself, information about the sources, which will lead you to the research that you want to conduct. So the whole process of life in a way is collecting these background skills. We've all know the importance of computing. We know the importance of networks, and we can see it evolving in front of our eyes almost every day. We have new facilities coming online. It's seldom a week passes, but some new modification to a program or some update has made something else possible. And it's important for us to be aware of these and capable of exploiting them for our own and for business purposes. Being able to communicate with others and to make reports and presentations and be able to meet customers and speak politely and understand the customer needs, and at the same time understand the organization's position, being able to go between the two and get an amicable solution by talking around problems and being able to solve problems in that way. And just general time management skills, the ability to organize your working life by setting out the tasks that you need to require, the time you've got to complete those tasks, and working towards them in a focused manner, being able to concentrate on the task to achieve a good result, good time management. Now, these are transferable skills, because if you move from one occupation to another, these are still relevant. They're not redundant as a consequence of you moving from one position to another. These are ones you carry with you, and this is what makes you and what makes you attractive in your current employment. But this is also a set of skills that you should be working on to develop even further. But let's talk about them in somewhat more detail and get more insight into them. We'll start with the skills for life. Skills for life are skills that are essential throughout your personal and professional development, and these include communication skills. Now, formal language, the language you use, used in letters, interviews, and presentations, having a good vocabulary and understanding the terms. If you're asked a question using language that is used widespread, I should say, throughout the sector in which you're working. If you're asked a question using the language that's understood within that sector and you don't understand the question, that looks bad. So you must have good vocabulary, good specific vocabulary, the vocabulary of the business, its terminology. You must be able to write well and present ideas in a clear and concise manner, and be able to perform well at interviews and be able to make presentations and be clearly understood, to be able to communicate the message. You should also have good communication skills with informal language, using text messages and emails and peer conversations. It's important that the other people understand you, understand what you're trying to say. What is the message? What are you trying to communicate? It should be easily picked up. It should be understood. And non-verbal communications. Non-verbal communications could be written communications, paper and emails. It's important to get ideas across and get them across succinctly, get them across efficiently, be able to summarize issues and problems and the message, summarize the message in a way that the reader can pick up precisely what's meant efficiently. And we have verbal communications, the use of language in presentations, interviews, telephone conversations, webcam conversation, and listening. So it's important to have good verbal communications. There's also literacy skills. And these may include being able to read, write, have good grammar, good sentence structure, good spelling, and using appropriate language to articulate yourself. Now in the UK, GCSE, which is a school qualification, a grade A star to C, something of that nature, is usually required for most jobs. So an English qualification, an English language qualification, GCSE, a General Certificate in Education, between A and C inclusively, is usually required for most jobs. But forgetting the formal qualification, it's just simply important to be able to read, write, have good grammar, good sentence structure, good spelling, and use appropriate language. Because this is a part of you. This is what you are projecting, and this is what will get you the good career. The ICT skills. Well, computing skills, it's important to be literate in the use of computers. The most basic form of computing seems to be involved, I should say, or revolve around the use of Microsoft packages. For example, Office, being able to word process, use spreadsheets, PowerPoint, being able to use that sort of basic functionality. But there may be other packages that are useful as well, depending on the area in which you intend to work. If you're going to work for a market research agency, the use of statistical packages and having good numeracy skills coupled with computing skills may be very important. So there may be issues surrounding that. Talking of numerical skills, this skill encourages the ability to be able to do basic arithmetic, basic mathematics. Generally, again, in the UK, a school qualification between A and C at about the age of 16. That's useful for most jobs. But again, let's forget that qualification and just say you should have good basic arithmetic. You should be able to manipulate numbers, be able to obviously add, subtract, multiply, divide. You should know what a square root is. You should be able to work out percentages and discounts. You should be able to work out rates of interest. And so being able to use mathematical functions is essential. It's an absolute base for almost all jobs, all career-based jobs. And an inability in this area is a drawback. Vocational skills, well, they're also necessary as they provide opportunities to develop practical skills in order to do your job. Vocational skills tend to be practical. Training courses and apprenticeships and vocational courses such as BTEC business diplomas are all good examples of vocational qualifications. So, for example, the BTEC in business is academic and practical. There's a heavy emphasis on practical situations in BTEC. But it also enables students to move on to academic qualifications and degrees. So vocational skills are important. These are the skills that enable people to get jobs done, practical jobs, and solve practical problems. Now, obtaining qualifications such as apprenticeships and vocational courses and the BTEC qualification prepare you for a world of work by providing knowledge about your chosen career, such as report writing, team working, for example working in groups, delivering presentations and effective communications. These are all very important skills, but in a sense they're all very practical skills. Making presentations is a practical activity. It's doing it. Having effective communications, make the message clear and easily understood. That's a practical skill. The technical skills I was talking about earlier, well, these are important in careers such as marketing, advertising, graphic design, textiles, programming and engineering. All of these areas have certain requirements. The people working in those areas should have special aptitudes and special capabilities which enable them to perform efficiently within that sector, within that business. Technical skills involves learning specific skills in case you may need to operate machinery or equipment, but there are very specific skills sometimes that are required within those sectors. In graphic design, for example, it may be necessary to pick up expertise in Photoshop on the computer, or in specialist computer packages. Or in textiles it may be design, it may be some issue about the design of a particular fabric or that goes on a particular fabric or whatever. So these are skills that have to be acquired, and they're acquired normally on the job. If technical skills are necessary for your career, then you will receive the right type of training, generally speaking. And college courses and on-the-job training tend to be orientated towards the acquisition of those skills. Here in the UK it's often the case that if one particular industry dominates an area, then the local colleges will offer courses that are linked to that particular activity. For example, shipbuilding is important in certain parts of the UK, and local colleges may offer courses related to shipbuilding. Mining may be important in some parts, and there may be courses related to mining, and so on. Now, work-related skills. Well, employers search for these skills during the recruitment and selection process. These work-related skills are not taught, but learnt through experience and practice. They involve problem solving, leadership, team working, and so on. So work-related skills are normally skills that are acquired in the course of working and in the course of life. The team working skill may be related to school and playing games in a team, playing cricket, working out a strategy for how to win a cricket match, working as a team. The employer is always looking for work-related skills, skills that means that the individual will fit in easily, will be suitable for employment and will fit in easily into that environment. When applying for jobs, you'll most likely be asked to provide examples of when you have demonstrated these skills. So have examples ready and make sure they're honest. Make sure you're not exaggerating or fabricating some story. But you will, the chances are, be asked for examples. When did you have a very positive experience of working in a team? When did you have a problem in working in a team, and how did you go about resolving the problem? Have examples, have very clear examples in your head that you're able to give straight away. The research skills, well, being able to research appropriately to obtain relevant information. This is important. It's important right throughout our lives. It's important to be able to sort out issues, understand what information is required, and then set about acquiring that information. Know where to look and how to go about the search. The following are guides to help you to develop your research skills. Be specific about what you are researching. Perhaps devise a question which you can research. So be very specific about what you're researching. One way of being specific is to devise questions that can be researched. You'll realize from other videos looking at research in much more detail, perhaps in other modules, that we sometimes call this our methodology, and we develop hypotheses. We don't have to go that far in this case. We're just talking about focusing our research by trying to answer some questions that we've set. There's a wealth of resources available, but don't just rely on one source. Look as widely as possible. If you live in a city, see what libraries are available or sources of information that you're able to tap into. Look at the internet, of course, but look at various sources. Don't just concentrate on one. If nothing else, it shows that you are a good researcher and that you are looking at all sources and trying to answer the question from different angles, which is a positive thing to say about you. Always be careful about biased information, especially online information. Information can be biased in so many ways, and again, this overlaps with videos in other modules that you will have encountered or you will encounter. So I'm not going to go into it in detail here, but it's important that the information that you're collecting is not biased. It's not promoting a particular view or a particular cause. It should be as objective and as straightforward as possible. Time management skills, well, these are vital in your personal and professional life. We have to manage our time. Time is limited, so we have to allocate it efficiently. So it allows us to meet deadlines and organize ourselves effectively, and that's important. We must meet the deadlines, especially ones that we've agreed to and ones which are set up and have to be achieved by a certain time. So in order to do that, we need to manage our time effectively. In order to do this, you need to plan ahead. You need to organize your time very carefully and have a good plan for the way in which you're going to organize your time. Ensure that you stick to your plans to complete your tasks. Try to make sure that the plans you've got are achievable. In other words, to meet the SMART criteria that we've talked about many times in many of the modules. Agree to undertake tasks that are realistic and achievable. Don't agree to undertake tasks that are not. It'll look bad if you don't achieve. If you said you can do and you can't, it looks bad. So always just take on the tasks that you can do and that you're realistic, that you can meet within the deadlines that are required. And always ensure that you have sufficient support networks to help you to achieve your task. You may require comment from colleagues or the input of certain people. Make sure that these are in place, that you're not waiting for something to happen because the deadline may run out. You're not managing your time effectively. You're waiting. Make sure that the waiting times are minimized, that if you require a specialist to make a contribution, the specialist is available at the time that you requested. So ensure that there is a smooth operation. All the parts are connected, leading to the submission of the work on time. Now, developing your transferable skills. Well, you're constantly developing your transferable skills through undertaking presentations, for example. The use of social networking, internet, and the use of software. You're constantly developing your skills in that context as well. Organizing and planning daily routines. Sometimes daily routines change because transport has changed or because the working environment has changed, whatever. So you're constantly updating your plans and organizing yourself, and hence developing your transferable skills. The use of literacy and numeracy incorporated into your daily life. You're keeping that up to date by performing these calculations and communicating effectively every day. So your transferable skills are, in a sense, being updated every time you use them. And problem solving and critical thinking. These are important in work, and it's important to either do it yourself or observe how others go about problem solving, how they go about being efficient at taking a problem, analyzing it, and finding a solution. And researching and finding information. Researching is an important skill because it's updating your knowledge, updating your skills, and that is important. And teamworking and all forms of communication. It's essential that the importance of teamworking is clearly understood. When we go to work for a company, we are not working alone. We are working in an environment which is cooperative. There are other people working there, and the upshot is it is team working. So the importance of team working should be clearly understood, and the importance of clear communications within the team should be clearly understood. So this is a talk about our transferable skills. These are the skills that we would take with us from one job to the next, from one place of employment to the next. So these are the skills that are within us, and these are the ones that we should be constantly trying to update and improve. That's all I'm going to deal with in this topic on transferable skills, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.